early for me. Still knocking the cobwebs off. Even got me a little cuppy cup here that's right, I finished me a cup of Waffle House coffee. Well, not really Waffle House, but it's my coffee, and got me a Waffle House cup. That cup actually belonged to my mother back in the day. She loved her some Waffle House coffee. But it's another week of college football. So is what old Robin Williams used to say, and good morning, Vietnam. Good morning, college football posse. How's it going out there today, brothers and sisters? I'm going to get an early start today. Going to try something new. Already got a few people up in here already. I was going to come in here and do our own little version of college football game day, since a lot of us can't watch ESPN anymore because they took it off DirecTV and Uverse. A lot of people have told me that we need to just go to YouTube TV or Spectrum, among other things. But my point is, in all the whole ESPN, DirecTV, Uverse controversy, is that I shouldn't have to change providers to keep watching ESPN. Now, I'm not sure exactly who is at fault. I haven't really delved into it. All I know is that most of the time, from my experience, it's ESPN. So I'm just going to go by past histories and assume that ESPN is at fault. If y'all know anything more about the whole controversy, let me know. But a lot of us can't watch college football game day today because we ain't got ESPN. So I'm going to have to go to a friend's house today to watch a few games. We've already got a few people up in here. We got baby boomer Sooners in the house. Says Sooner here. He said he can't spell. Yeah, well, the thing is about spell check is that a spell check a word that you don't want spell check, then when you need it to spell check, it won't spell check. So whoever invented spell check, they're an asshole. But Zach Cameron's in the house. He's got his badge. He's deputized. He says the whole ESPN thing is because the liberal bitches buy everything. Yeah, I can adhere to that. But I was going to come in here real quick today and get a few predictions from you guys and gals, and then if I have time, I'm going to go back and look at some of the predictions to some of these games. If y'all throw some scores in here in the comment sections on some of these games. I've said this in the past, but I'm actually going to try to do it this time. I'm going to go in and try to look at some of the scores and see who had the most unique take on some of the games, and maybe give away a little prize of some sort, maybe an OCF hat like up there, or maybe even go in there and get somebody a Outlaw of College Football shirt, which is in our store. You can check our store out. We got a few items in there that you can buy if you want your Outlaw of College Football merchandise. Now, let's get right to it here. Not going to start off with the predictions just yet. I'm going to start off with something that Courtney Taylor sent me. She's one of our loyal listeners to the show, and she's always provided me with good nuggets because she's one of the common Joes and common Sallys in the know, even more so than all the media talking heads. That's our motto. So what y'all think about this? Look at that. KOTV, News on 6, students at Oklahoma State, that being Okie Pokey Chokey State, are rallying to invite Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart to an equestrian meet with support from well-known people around the university. Hashtag Snoop for Stilly. For Stilly. For Nizzle. For Nizzle, my shizzle, my nizzle, my tizzle, my gizzle. Why? That's all I'm asking. Why would Snoop Dogg or Martha Stewart or anybody want to go to an equestrian team rally? I'm just saying. I mean, why not try to get them to come to the football game? But another question is, why are you begging these two? Martha Stewart's a known criminal, right? Of course, she might have been railroaded by the IRS. You never know with the IRS. They're crooked as hell, too. But Snoop Dogg's a straight up He's a straight up ass to me. I mean, Snoop Dogg is one of those types that like to keep things stirred up amongst races. He's a race baiting racist to me. That's what Snoop Dogg is. He's just a piece of general dung, in my opinion. So why beg Snoop Dogg? Um, these kind of people like Snoop Dogg, they make a living off of keeping people separated by race. In my opinion, he's a piece of crap. But anyway, just thought y'all find that interesting that Okeechobee State is basically begging Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart to come to an equestrian event with old Mike Gunby here, old Mike Gaby here, and his little thing here. I'm a man. I'm 54. I'm 55. And one day I'm going to be 52. I'm going to retire a man. Hopefully he don't, go transgender on us or anything. That mullet, he might be able to go transgender. But, Mike Gundy's something else, man. He wanted to tell the players and their agents not be asking for money. Then they turn around and ask for money by trying to put QR codes on their helmets. But the NCAA struck that down, so there will not be any QR codes on Oklahoma State's helmets. What do y'all think about all that? Zach Hamner has already given us a prediction that Okeechobee State will win 42-20 over Arkansas. Wow, that's a big spread there, brother. I think Okeechobee's favored in that game by maybe 9 points, 9.5. Comanche Sooners in the house. Comanche Sooner, formerly Benjamin Sisko, the poster formerly known as Benjamin Sisko of Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever Star fame. Good morning, everyone. Boomer and Roll Tide. RTR, Roll Tide Roll. Shorthorns going to get beat by the Michigan defense. Really? Well, I mean, Fresno State gave them a pretty good game. But you are right. Fresno State did not score but 10 points. So the Michigan defense probably did win that game for them against Fresno State. So maybe they'll be able to do the same thing to a much better offense in Quinn Ewers in Texas. Although I've been told by many people that Quinn Ewers and Texas do not have a running game, and that may affect them going down the road in this season. As early as today on the big noon kickoff with Texas and Michigan. One more topic, and then we'll get to the predictions. It's in the title. Coach Prime, once again, being con time, Deion Sanders. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Another reason why con time catches hell for me so much. But first, let me slip on my con time Deion Sanders bullshit shades so I can see through the bullshit that comes out of his little trash mouth, little beady little lies. Until he lies all the time. Not just lies all the time, but he's just always complaining and whining. Man, he should maybe have Tampax or tampons as his official sponsor or something. What do you think? Here it is. Should Shadir Sanders, I like to call him Sakazulu Sanders because he gets sacked so much. Should Sakazulu Sanders and Travis Hunter have got more recognition after their week 1 performance against North Dakota State? Deion Sanders thinks so. The Colorado coach wondered on a weekly coaches show Thursday why his quarterback and star cornerback wide receiver weren't on a bigger part of the college football discourse following Colorado's 31-26 victory last Thursday. He even joked that Sanders and Hunter didn't get the attention he felt they deserved because he was their head coach. You've got a guy who threw the most yards in college football. You got a guy who's proved he's the most spectacular player in college football, Sanders said. He's including Travis Hunter in this, but really he don't want to. He wants to make it all about his son. I can guarantee you that. But let me tell Deion why I got my bullshit Deion Sanders shades on. The reason why your guys didn't get much recognition is because y'all run up your stats against an FCS school, brother. Once y'all beat a team that really matters in the whole grand scheme of things in FBS, then we might think about propping your boy up and the other guy that you're overplaying and going to get injured. Y'all will get Travis Hunter injured again this year. You watch and see. They're playing him too many snaps. But that's the reason why, Deion. It ain't because of you. See, once again, Deion, he can't control it, man. It's like he's got this mask on where he's trying not to, expose himself as the narcissistic jackass that he is. But then when he's taking up for his son and Travis, even while taking up for his son, Saka Zulu Sanders, he has to make it about Deion. They're not getting attention because of me. No, they're getting attention because of you. Now, if they're getting negative attention because of you, maybe you need to think about scaling back on some of the asinine comments that you make on the regular. Let me take these Deion Sanders bullshit glasses off now that I've helped y'all see through the Deion Sanders bullshit. Comanche Sooner says Kentucky and South Carolina is going to be an interesting conference game. It's a very important game for both of them, especially South Carolina after the way they looked against Old Dominion. Yeah, here we go. Fred Bagley's in the house. He has his badge. He's deputized. Morning Posse, Outlaw, Boomer Sooner. By the way, you'll see a couple of guys in here already with their badges. If you want to get your badge and get deputized, being an Outlaw Posse, you'll get a random Four Horseman shout out on here. We're not going to do one of those today, but usually you'll get a random Four Horseman shout out on here or on the podcast, as well as possibly the comment of the day, as well as other perks that are coming. If you want to be in the Outlaw Posse, it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. It's a little join button over there by the subscribe button. And, of course, the big four, which are all free: like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Share this channel out. If you don't mind, jump out. Hit the like button on this stream. It'll help push this algorithm out, and we'll get more people up in this party, this early version of the Outlaw Posse Party. And now let's get to the predictions. All right. Make sure I got that up for y'all. There it is. College football odds. Let's go down here and find a game that matters. I don't know if Pittsburgh and Cincinnati's to y'all's liking. I know Akron and Rutgers is not. A few of y'all been talking about the Arkansas versus Oklahoma State matchup today. Let's click on that one real quick. Says here that Arkansas is 0-0. I think Arkansas played a game. I think they might be wrong about that. Says here that Oklahoma State is a 9.5 favorite. I guess this game is at Stillwater, but 9.5. Let's see what the subscribers are saying on Sportsline here. 48% are taking Arkansas in the 9.5, while 52% are taking Oklahoma State to cover the 9.5. I think this second one here, the money line, 5%, is on Arkansas to win straight up, maybe. But that's the general consensus on the betting line here. People that are betting on the game think 52% think that Okie Pokey Chokey State, with Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg in tow at the equestrian event, will cover the 9.5 against Arkansas. Me personally, I think that Oklahoma State will probably win this game, but I would not be surprised if Arkansas actually upset them and won this game straight up. Would not surprise me at all. But I just don't know if Oklahoma State can cover the 9.5. What do y'all think? If I had to bet this game on 9.5, I would take Arkansas in the points. 9.5 is a pretty big line for me in this game. Of course, it's not but 10, getting up by 10 points. So Oklahoma State, if Arkansas, don't come to play, and they get a little behind the 8 ball in the early part of the game would be the key for Arkansas to stay in the game the first half. Oklahoma State would easily cover the 9.5. What do y'all think? Fred Bagley, con time. He's so full of shit. The whites of his eyes are turning brown. Yeah, that's probably why he wears those shades. You're right, Fred. Fred said that's why he wears the shades. Tobin Bradshaw's in the house. What's up, Jesse Boomer Center? It's spelled Jesse without the I. I think y'all do that to aggravate, don't you? Tobin, excuse me. Tobin Bradshaw's a big donor to the show. You'll see his name in the scroll down here. Also, if y'all want to get your comment pushed to the top where I can see it and comment on it above the others, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom down here. You can click on that, write your comment out, then hit send. Don't hit send before you write your comment out, or you won't get your money's worth. But you can do that. It'll highlight your comment and push to the top if you want to make a little small donation to the show. And I'll answer your comment above everybody else's. Go Hornets. Georgia Tech alums in the house, 2004. Good morning, everyone. Go Hornets. We're going to beat the heck out of Syracuse. So, y'all the Hornets now? Hornets are more intimidating than Yellow Jackets, I reckon. Yeah, Georgia Tech is off to a nice, fast start after upsetting the Crying Knolls, also known as the fake Indians, down there in Tallahassee on the reservation at not at Doak Campbell, but they actually took them out in Ireland. Florida State got a passport and everything to just go get their ass whooped. And then they got their ass whooped again by Boston College at Doak Campbell on the reservation. So, yeah, the squaws at the reservation in Tallahassee aren't too happy today. I don't know if they got the week off today or not, but I know their next game, I think, is against Memphis, which is the former team of Mike Norvell. And Memphis is an up-and-coming G5 school that may be contending for one of those G5 spots in the playoffs. So we may see Florida State and the fake Indians and the squaws on the reservation start 0-3. What do y'all think about that? John Christophick's in the house. John says Texas will defeat Michigan today. We haven't got to that game yet. Right now we're doing Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's a 9.5. Will y'all take the 9.5 with Okie Pokey State, or will you go with Arkansas? All right, moving on down here. Instead of moving on up like George Jefferson, we're going to move on down. We got Kansas State versus Tulane. What do y'all think about that game? Now, you know Tulane, I think, upset Kansas State last year. Let's see what the matchup analysis is on that. All right. Don't really give me a matchup analysis on that one, does it? Looks like the most money is on Kansas State. I'm trying to see what the point spread is on that. But anyway, looks like everybody's taking Kansas State. 57% is taking Kansas State to cover whatever line is supposedly up. 43% for Tulane, 92% for, I guess, a win for straight up, and 8% for Tulane. All right. There it is. There's the big game of the week that everybody's waiting on. Texas Longhorns versus the Michigan Wolverines. Let me go back real quick. Texas is a 7-point favorite. It was 7.5, I think. It's moved down just a little bit, which tells me that people are taking Michigan and the points. Let's go back to the full matchup analysis. Here we go. 71% are taking Texas in the money. Texas in the points. So it's moved back a little bit. It was a little bit higher. So 71% of the people think Texas will cover the 7 points on the road at the Big House against Michigan. 90% of the public thinks that Texas will win straight up. 10% think Michigan will win straight up. And that is the big game of the day, to be honest. As much as I know you people, a lot of you Oklahoma Sooners don't want to really give Texas, we like to call them the long turds, any kudos. This is the biggest game of the day, most likely. Unless we have a huge upset of some sort that we don't see in the works here. So what's y'all's take on that? Texas and Michigan, I already seen a couple of y'all saying that y'all think that Michigan's going to beat Texas straight up. He says OSU will win, but they will not cover, says Fred Bagley. Sorry about the pronunciation. Jesse, I used my microphone. You would think that the microphone would want to spell it as short as they want. It can make it, right? I'm just messing with you, brother. I don't really care about that I. It's just something I do to aggravate people because it's actually the female version of the name. So, yeah. Fred Bagley is going to take Kansas State in the Tulane game to cover the points. John Christophic says Michigan has no chance of winning because they can no longer cheat. Well, you might be right about that now. They said that Sharon Moore was actually implicated in some of that. So, Michigan may still be in some trouble. I heard they're going to get a postseason ban as well. I don't know if you know any more details about it, John Christophic. If you do, drop it in the comment section and educate us because, like I said before, this is the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sound I know, even more so than all the media talking heads. All right. Let's move on to the next game. I guess Florida State's off this week because it says up there that Troy's playing Memphis. So we won't have to decide whether the fake Indians, there it is, Troy at Memphis. Bowling Green at Penn State. We're not going to touch that. Valparaiso, blah, blah, blah. Some of these games, I'm wondering why they even place bets on these games. Nobody knows shit about those teams. If they do, they're better man than me. Auburn versus California. California at Auburn. Right now, it looks like Auburn has opened as a 10.5-point favorite. What do y'all think about that? California at Auburn. California is now a full-fledged member of the ACC. So, yeah, they're displaced as much as they are displaced in real life. They're in a conference where they're not even close to the ocean that they're supposed to be in. They went from the Pacific Conference to the Atlantic Conference. How does that work? All right. Everybody's taking Auburn in the points. 64% think Auburn will cover the 10.5. 36% think that Cal will not allow them to cover the 10.5. Hard game for me. Auburn run up the score against Alabama A&M, but that was an HBCU level school that's probably not even on the division FCS level. A lot of those HBCU level schools are on the same level as probably Division III. But I don't know, man. It's a hard one. California's not extremely great. They didn't look real good against Cal Davis in the first week, so I'd probably take Auburn in the points. Straight up, 95%. 5% think Cal has a chance to upset Auburn on the Plains. But I'd take Auburn in the 10.5. Although it's a big 10.5. I would think I would go with Auburn. What do y'all think? Auburn in the cover. Auburn will defeat California, says John Christophic. Yeah, but will they cover? Will Auburn cover the 10.5? That is the question. Now, going back to it again. Scrolling down here, I hate to keep having to go back and scroll down. Let's see what we got here. Might just instead of clicking on it, I might just stay right here with it. All right, Charlotte's playing North Carolina, an new interstate rival for North Carolina. Iowa versus Iowa State. I don't know if I want to do that one or not. Michigan State versus Maryland. Both teams are 1-0. Probably another game that nobody really cares about. Someone brought up South Carolina, Kentucky, so we'll click on that one real quick. South Carolina versus Kentucky. All right, let's see what we got here. 9 points. It's at Kentucky, and Kentucky is favored by 9 to beat South Carolina. I'm sure that line went up because South Carolina almost lost to Old Dominion. 71% of the betting public is taking Kentucky to cover the 9 points. South Carolina, 29%. Straight up, Kentucky, 95%. South Carolina, 5% chance to win straight up. Right? What do y'all think about that game? You think Kentucky covers the 9? I don't know. Kentucky's always had a problem with winning games that they should sometimes. I think Kentucky can win the game since it's in Lexington, but I don't know if they can cover 9. I might take South Carolina in the 9 points. Now, as far as straight up goes, I think Kentucky will definitely win that game. Fred Bagley thinks Kentucky will cover. About Oklahoma State. What about Oklahoma State? What about Oklahoma State? We've already done the Oklahoma State game. Most people took Oklahoma State to cover the 9.5. They're favored by 9.5. I think Oklahoma State will win, as I said earlier, but I don't think that they'll cover the 9.5. Not sure if they can cover the 9.5. Vamos Gators is in the house. Good morning, everyone. How's it going, Vamos Gators? Speaking of Gators, man, y'all think y'all going to be able to get it together after getting blowed out in the swamp by the Miami Hurricanes? That was a tough loss. Not only did you lose at home, but you got blowed out. I really hate that for Florida. I like some of the Florida people that are on this channel. They're pretty good folks. Kentucky and South Carolina, though. What do y'all think about that? Notre Dame's playing Northern Illinois. Now, Northern Illinois is a team that'll sneak up on you. So Notre Dame better be careful about that game. Baylor's playing Utah. What do y'all think about that? It says here that Baylor and Utah is a 14.5 favorite over Baylor. You think Utah covers that spread? I don't know. It's a big spread for Utah, but it is at Utah. And Baylor hasn't really looked very impressive the last year or so. So it would not surprise me if Utah were to win that game by 2 or more touchdowns. I might take that big spread. What do y'all think? Let's load some more odds here for y'all. UTSA versus Texas State. My friend Jonathan Lewis would love to do that game. He's a big UTSA fan. He's from San Antonio, but we grew up in Alabama, so he's an Alabama fan, of course. Ole Miss plays another cupcake in Middle Tennessee. I don't mind teams starting with 1 cupcake, but come on. You got to have 2 in a row, do you? Will Virginia Tech right the ship after losing to Vanderbilt? They play Marshall today. And there ain't many good games today, are there? Let's go on down here and see what we got. East Carolina versus Old Dominion. Old Dominion looked pretty good against South Carolina. There ain't much going on, is it? Missouri plays Buffalo. That's a team that's been running their mouth about Oklahoma in the offseason. We got a lot of Oklahoma people in here. They'll be interested to see how good Missouri's doing all year until they get to Missouri. If y'all play Missouri. I don't even know if y'all played Missouri this year. Does Oklahoma play Missouri this year in the regular season? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Going on down here, South Florida is at Alabama. Now, South Florida kept this game close last year and ended up going to bowl. A lot of people give us hell about that game because we looked like shit against a team that won 2 games the previous year. I think 2 years ago, South Florida was like 2-10. And we barely beat them. It was 10-3 with 5 minutes left to go. We added a late touchdown to make it look a little bit better. Beat them 17-3. So of course they're feeling their oats and they're talking a lot of smack and thinking they're going to pull the big upset today in Tuscaloosa. What they don't take into account is the fact that last year Jalen Milroe was not in this game. So Jalen Milroe probably has somewhat of an axe to grind. I've done a video on that, and it's in the members only section. If you're an Outlaw Posse, you can see that video. But I think Alabama's a 31-point favorite. I don't know if we can cover that. I think we'll beat South Florida, but I don't think Alabama will cover 31.5 or 31, however many it was. Let's go down here some more. Kansas versus Illinois. That's somewhat an interesting game. A lot of people on the Kansas bandwagon this year think they can win the Big 12 since Oklahoma and Texas are no longer in the way. Illinois, I think, ain't Brett Bielema still the coach there. This is probably his last season to prove himself. He done all right at Illinois at first. That game is at Illinois. Kansas is a 4.5-point favorite. I'd probably take Kansas in the points. Bringing up some more games for y'all. Virginia versus Wake Forest. That's a middle-of-the-road kind of game there. Virginia's coach really needs that game. He's probably going to get fired this year if he doesn't do something. Ohio State is playing Western Michigan. That should be easy. And here's a game that I've been honing in on, and I'll pull this one up. Colorado versus Nebraska, and Tennessee versus NC State, Oklahoma versus Houston. Right now, Nebraska is a 6.5-point favorite in Lincoln against Colorado. Now, I've touched on this game before. I think that if things start rolling Nebraska's way early, this might be a blowout. I could be wrong, and Colorado could come in there and blow them out. But Nebraska looks like they're getting a little bit better offensively with Dylan Raiola. Of course, it was UTEP, but they did do what they were supposed to do. They scored 40 points on UTEP and beat them 40-7. Colorado struggled with North Dakota State, and I know I already heard all the crap about how North Dakota State, man, they're a great team. They're a great team in the FCS. Yeah, but they're in the FCS. No matter what, they're still in the FCS. And if you're willing to admit that you're one of the bottom-rung teams of FBS, of Division I football, then I'll be like, okay, if you're willing to admit that you're in the bottom rung, then it's okay for you to struggle with North Dakota State. But if you're thinking that you're going to be a contender for national championships or even conference championships like Colorado's thinking they are, then you don't struggle with any FCS team. I don't care if it's North Dakota State or South Dakota State or even back further in the day when Georgia Southern was dominating. You don't struggle with that team. If you do, you deserve criticism. Just like my team, Alabama, struggled with Georgia Southern a few years back, and they got criticized, and they deserve to be criticized. Because if you're aspiring to be in the top tier of Division I football, you don't need to be struggling with North Dakota State. So today I hope Nebraska blows them out, and I hope this is signifying that maybe Nebraska is back somewhat, at least to the point where Nebraska is maybe contending for a playoff spot. Since there's 12 spots now, that's not asking a whole lot. I think Nebraska will win this game today. I hope they do. I'll be rooting for them hard. Might be going my heart a little bit on this, but because I just can't stand con time Deion Sanders because he is a con man. So I think Nebraska will cover the 6.5. What do y'all think? Let's see what the full match. Well, let's talk about them before I click on that, because then I'll have to scroll back down. Let's talk about Tennessee and NC State real quick. First, let me see if anybody's made any good comments. Bama has an axe to grind against South Florida, in my opinion, says Fred Bagley. I agree, Fred. I think we do. I don't know if we'll cover 31, but if we do, I'll be happy. I just don't know if we can cover 31 points. Oklahoma is playing Mid-Poo on November 9th. By the way, Mid-Poo is another creative nickname that we have given certain teams in college football, that being Missouri. They are Mid-Poo because they're in the middle of the United States, in the middle of a big old pile of crap that nobody cares about, right? What does the state of Missouri got to offer? They're the show me state, right? Well, they're the show me state because they need people to show them something because they have nothing, right? I'm pissing people off. Nebraska will cover, says Fred Bagley. David Whitehead's in the house. David Whitehead says, sneaky feeling Texas is going to lay an egg. Nebraska beat a 2-win team from last year, says that black dude. Like your picture, by the way. Tropic Thunder? That was a pretty good movie. Pretty funny. Surprised they let Robert Downey Jr. get away with painting himself up in blackface, though. All right, let's go back to the predictions here real quick, and then we'll see what the experts are saying. Tennessee versus NC State. I think this game is in Charlotte or either in Atlanta. I think it's at a neutral site. Can't remember which one. Tennessee is a 9.5. 9.5 is like the line today, right? Everybody that's favored is 9.5. It seems. In the middle of the road could be an upset game. If Tennessee loses to NC State, all these Tennessee people that have been jumping on the Tennessee bandwagon, and Nico Amalema, is that how you say his last name? I can't never say a dude's last name. Anyway, Tennessee's quarterback Nico playing NC State in a neutral site game. I think Tennessee will cover the 9.5. I think they will. Don't be surprised if NC State gives them a close game and they don't cover the 9.5. But I think Tennessee will win the game straight up. Now we have Oklahoma versus Houston. This might have been an interesting game at one time until Houston went out and basically shit the bed against UNLV. So Houston's been aspiring to be a Power 4 now. It's not Power 5 anymore. A Power 4 school for quite some time. Now they're at Power 4 level. They're starting to play like crap again because that's what Houston does. They have 1 or 2 good seasons, and then they have about 4 or 5 crappy seasons. So they're in the midst probably of going through some of their 3 or 4 crappy seasons in a row. I think Oklahoma will win this game easily. It says 27.5. I would not be surprised if Oklahoma covered that. I would take Oklahoma in the points. I'd say Oklahoma's probably going to win this game. I'd say in the area of probably 49-7. Now let's go back up here to the full matchup analysis for Colorado and Nebraska. See what the betting lines are saying here. It's pretty even. 52% are taking Nebraska in the points, 6.5 points. 48% think that Colorado will keep them from covering. 92% says that Nebraska wins straight up. 8% thinks Colorado can pull the upset. So pretty even betting line as far as the point spread goes. I hate to hear that because I do not particularly care for the one that I like to call Con Time Deion Sanders. OU wins and covers the 27.5, says Fred Bagley. Well, I concur, brother. I concur. I think they will cover that 27.5. I'm not usually inclined to take big, huge point spreads, but that's just 4 touchdowns, and they did lose by 20 to UNLV. So it would not surprise me if this game was a pretty big blowout. 49-7 is what I said, and that's being nice. It could end up being a Western Kentucky, Alabama situation, or even a Oklahoma Temple situation from last week. They'll be on 51-3. But that's the most important lines today. Is there any other games that y'all would like to touch on? Something that I missed on maybe that y'all would like to touch on? Maybe even a topic or two or anything outside the box that you want to talk about before we get up out of here and get this college football week 2 started, man. I can't believe it's here. I can't believe college football season's here, man. Making me feel good all up inside right here, man. I love it. Woo! David Whitehead says, I hope Nebraska takes Colorado to the woodshed. Me too. John Christophic says he wants to do the Pitt and Cincinnati game. We can do that for you, brother. John Christophic's a pretty good listener for the program. He's always up in here. I value his opinion. So let's see if we can't find that Pittsburgh game for you. There it is, right there for John Christophic. John Christophic is, I think, a Pitt fan. I might have JJ Kitchens on the show one day. He's a Pitt guy. He does a podcast. If you like him, John Christophic, I might have him on the show pretty soon. I'm going to ask him. He may come on, he may not. A lot of people don't care for my antics and my blunt approach to things. It gets me in trouble. A lot of people don't want to be on here with me because they think I will stain them. All right. Says here that Cincinnati is a 1.5 point favorite. I think this game is at Cincinnati. That probably explains them being favored. Not sure who Cincinnati played last week, but the betting money is going on Pittsburgh. People are taking Pittsburgh minus the 1.5 to beat Cincinnati. 33% think Cincinnati will cover, which means they think Cincinnati will win. 82% think that Cincinnati can win, and 18% think Pittsburgh can win. I think that's what that means. I'm not sure what Cincinnati done last week. Who did they play last week? I can't remember. I think they struggled last week, didn't they? This game to me, it feels like a no-brainer. Now, I know Pittsburgh did struggle with Kent State for a little while, but there was a couple of freaky turnovers. And one of the play of the games I've seen, a freaky turnover for Kent State that turned into 7 points and kept that game relatively close through the first 3 quarters. And then Pittsburgh pulled away the way they should. They beat them 55-24, which is what they should do. And they did do that in the end. So you got to give Pittsburgh credit for overcoming those turnovers and turning the game into what it was supposed to be. I think that Pittsburgh will cover, and I think they will win straight up. I would even gander to, and maybe even go a little further and say that Pittsburgh could win this game by double digits. What do y'all think? Did I even bring that up for y'all? I don't think I did. Let me share it with y'all real quick. Let me share that with y'all real quick so y'all can see I wasn't talking out of my ass. As you can see right there, Pittsburgh is 67%. 67% of the public is betting on Pittsburgh to cover the 1.5. Cincinnati will not cover the 1.5, according to 67% of the people betting. And not only will they not cover, if they're not going to cover the 1.5, then they're obviously probably going to lose the game. So I don't understand this whole 82%, 18% stuff. Maybe that's the over-under. I don't know. John Christophic says Pitt will win by 3. Yeah, I can go with that, John. But I really think that Pittsburgh will probably win by even more than that. That's just my opinion. I think Pitt might win it by 10 points or so. I'm not sure how prolific your offense is this year. I don't know a lot about these two teams just yet. It would not surprise me if Pitt won this game 27-17 or something like that. Logan Lee says, I'm a Michigan fan for about 4 hours today. Will it take 4 hours to complete that game? I thought they got to where they were making the game shorter. They were making the game shorter, but now they got a 2-minute timeout. I was like, that ain't that defeating the purpose of making games shorter by having a 2-minute warning? It's going more and more NFL like every day. Big Cojones Kelly's in the house. He has his badge. He's deputized. He's an outlaw posse. He says uterus, that being Texas, will Amber Heard the bid. Oklahoma wins by 2 tutties. Nebraska will beat Colorado by a field goal. Well, if they beat them by a field goal, then that means that they're not covering. So, Nebraska is a 6.5-point favorite. So you're saying that you would take Colorado in the points, right? I think Nebraska will cover. I hope they cover and then cover and cover and cover and cover. Oregon style. Like Oregon just beat the snot out of them last year. It was 42-6 or something. But yeah, I just want to jump in here real quick and do my first early Saturday morning college football Saturday morning with the Posse. I got a few picks in here and got a good feel with what y'all think and what I can expect today from college football. Y'all are usually spot on with your predictions because the Common Joes and the Common Sals in the know, even more so than many talking heads, usually know what they're talking about. Tom Piper's in the house. He says, I think Nebraska will beat Colorado by 10. I agree with you, Tom. Hell, I hope they beat them by 40. Logan Lee's still in the house with a boomer and roll tide. Big Cojones Kelly says, I hope they cover, but Con Air has playmakers on the outside. I think that Travis Hunter's going to get injured again, just like he did last year. I don't mind them playing them both ways. Like, back in the day, this is going to show my age, but Tim Brown used to be a wide receiver and kickoff specialist, I think. Who was it? It was Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard played both ways a little bit. He was a little bit of a gimmick player on the offensive side of the ball. That I don't mind. Travis Hunter playing 60 or 70 snaps a game, I don't know if that's a good idea for anybody. I know what Deion's trying to do, just like he did against North Dakota State when he was passing late when they should have been trying to eat clock, and they almost lost the game because of that shit. 5 more yards, and North Dakota State wins the game. They threw a Hail Mary and caught the ball down there at the 5-yard line because Con Time was too busy worried about, like I said earlier in the program here, I brought an article up where he was worried about why his son, Saka Zulu Sanders, and his multi-purpose player, Travis Hunter, weren't given more Heisman love. You need to stop worrying about that and worry about why your team struggled so mightily with an FCS school. Con Time. I'm a Canes fan, not a Gators fan. What's up with the Gators in your name, man? Why ain't it Vamoose Canes 89? Oh, that says Gatos. My bad. I thought there was an R in there. It says Gatos or Gatos. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Gatos? Vamos Gatos, 89. Logan Lee says Deion will never win because he's racist as F. Fred Bagley, once again with his badge. I told Gatos, but he can't catch all the comments. Yeah, I can't catch all the comments. If y'all want a comment specifically read out and want me to respond specifically to you, there's a little $1 sign at the bottom. You can click on that and make a small donation, anywhere from $2 to $5 to $10 to own up however many characters you want to type. If you make a small donation, write the comment out, and then hit send. It'll push you to the top and highlight it. And I'll read your comment out above everybody else's. All good. It means run, kiddies. All right, brothers and sisters. It's been fun doing this early morning version of the Outlaw Posse with y'all. The Outlaw Sports with John and Jesse. I might be going to change the name here pretty soon to something else. I don't know if John wants his name still on the program here. He does help me produce a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He helps with a lot of technical stuff. So I may just leave his name on there just out of respect for that. With that, I'm going to get out of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This live stream will go to podcast after this. If you want to go back and listen to the first part of the show, see some of the stuff that you maybe missed. Please share this out to all your friends. We're almost to 5,000 subscribers. I really need y'all's help on that. But KMCA and all the other teams class is now officially dismissed.